Eric had tentacles throughout the university, so there were so many different programs and people coming back from the States where they played on scholarship, and I'm not even sure who mentioned Eric's name to me the first time. I had seen him when I was competing against him, but I'd never actually met him except through one of his recruiters that he had in the school. Tennis is an individual sport, and you don't have a long history of being on a team with people, and so my first impression was actually quite surprising when I saw how many teammates were sitting in Eric's office, how many people were just hanging out there. It was the cultural hub of tennis at York. It was new to me. It was a great first impression, and it certainly makes you feel welcome, no matter where you come from. Eric's a great strategist, which is on court. My wife and her partner would have a list of strategies that Eric would have helped them write out prior to a match. He would put a lineup that had us succeed or set up very well against our competition. He'd let us play. He wouldn't make it about himself, and he'd be there very supportive throughout. So he was just a great coach all around, I would say. Eric is so humble, and there were never great stories about Eric because he always made it about the players. He was never the story. He was always positive. He seemed to be calm, and he'd stand back and he'd watch several matches and he'd have something positive to say about each match. And it's only till afterwards when Lauren Ziv coached with him that she was able to see that he was having a nervous breakdown every match. And this guy changed everything in terms of perception. This guy who we thought was so calm, cool, and collected is exactly like the rest of us under pressure. What I remember most about Eric is the joy he had when the team did well. He never made it about himself. It was always about the others, and only after, when you look back and you talk to your teammates, did we realize the truth that Eric was the heart and soul of the team, and Eric was the reason why we were there, and Eric was the reason why we were successful. So before I arrived, Eric had to help revive tennis at York. It still had a fairly low profile, and so he had to work very hard to build it up. A lot of people didn't even know that there was a team if they were coming for academic reasons first. Then you would have to convince them that it's worth trying out and being part of something when they were quite skeptical, and with one practice people bought in. And so by the time I got there, there was a real program. In 16 years as coach, Eric had 16 medals, 6 gold medals, men and women, definitely the most dominant team in the province. Perhaps a team that I was on with several people who had been recruited from the United States who were doing postgrad work here. And when I discussed this with my partners, such as Ben Wu, we always come to the conclusion that our time at York was the best team we ever were on. One thing people on the team didn't realize is how good a tennis player Eric is and was. He would keep our confidence high by not going out and showing us that he was actually better than many of us. We didn't realize that. All we knew is that he was a really good coach, and he gave a good lesson and a good practice. He's gone on to since show how good he is by competing nationally, internationally. I know his ranking is top 50 in the world at his level, or at his age, which might be limitless, I'm not sure. Eric, on behalf of the hundreds of players who played for you, congratulations on your success as a coach, your legacy to York University, and your deserved recognition today. Congratulations.